lot has changed.
You're right.
So, you know each other?
So as I said before, this movie definitely was a game changer in terms of, you know, not really rebooting a franchise in general, but the fact that, okay, all these people were in the first Fast and Furious movie, but they didn't return for the second one or the third one. I think Paul Walker was the only one who came back for the second film, and Vin Diesel is only in the the post credits of Tokyo Drift. And so, you know, everybody went their separate ways. None of them really had success in terms of post-Fast and Furious careers. The only one who had that was Vin Diesel. And even then, after XXX, I mean, he didn't really have a whole lot of big successes, with the exception of The Pacifier. Paul Walker had started in some pretty good movies overall. Michelle Rodriguez was in a couple of movies overall that maybe weren't successful in terms of critical or financial success, but some of them were actually kind of good. Same thing with Jordana Brewster, kind of like... I feel like Jordana Brewster, of the four, was kind of the weak link of all the ones who went on to do stuff after the Fast and Furious films ended. She didn't really have that many big successes after that. But the fact that they've got everybody back together again, and now they have the director of Tokyo Drift, Justin Lin, coming on board here, as well as the same writer from that movie, Chris Morgan. And nobody really had a whole lot of hope that this was going to make any money, because it's the fourth installment of a series that, in essential, had been kind of... really just been chugging along and really just kind of fell apart thanks to Tokyo Drift and Too Fast, Too Furious. So the expectations for this were very low. The fact they were getting everybody back together, nobody really thought it was going to really impact anything. Everyone kind of thought that this was kind of the end of the road for the Fast and Furious series in general. And then it turned out to not be the case whatsoever. This thing unexpectedly performed over expectations. It made $70 million on its first weekend alone, which is unbelievable when you think about it. And it essentially began a new renaissance for the Fast and Furious films in general. And a lot of other action film franchises saw that and realized, well, you know what? If the Fast and Furious could do it, why not us? I mean, look at what happened with Mission Impossible. A couple years later with Ghost Protocol. Look at how that trend started up again. And then what's another one? Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. In a way, got a big reboot. Got a big, once Jurassic World came out, we rebooted that franchise around. Star Wars. That franchise started back up again. And then, more recently, the Bad Boys movies. The Bad Boys movies got back on track with Bad Boys for Life in 2020, and then recently we had Bad Boys Ride or Die. So yeah, Fast and Furious was kind of one of the first movies to really, take an action franchise and bring it back to a sense that we can continue making these movies as long as people want to go and see them. And sure enough, people came out in droves to see this one, and it helped to reignite the Fast and Furious series in general. And yeah, the movie itself nowadays isn't really all that good, especially considering what came afterwards, but still better than some of the more recent Fast and Furious movies, I'll say that. In the film, Dominic Toretto, once again, played by Vin Diesel, and FBI agent Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, are forced to work together to avenge the murder of Toretto's lover, Letty Ortiz, played by Michelle Rodriguez, and apprehend drug lord Arturo Braga, played by John Ortiz. Oh yeah, Letty is dead. She's never going to come back to this series anytime soon. Just pretend the other movies don't exist right now. Just pretend that she's dead for good. Oh no, she's really gone. And, okay, yeah, you get the idea. But, as I said before, this is definitely in the middle of the Fast and Furious movies. For one, it's the only thing this really is notable for helping to get the series back on track, to becoming a fun film overall. The action sequences are still tons of fun. The script is a mess. This thing goes all over the place, and just really, you're only there just to see the special effects and the visuals in general. And I always say that visuals don't always make the movie, but in this case, after what they had done before with the previous Fast and Furious movies, this is one of those few times where I would say, okay, you get a free pass on this one, because these are some pretty damn good, fun action sequences in general. Plus, it's good seeing all these characters back together again. It's good to see all these characters back after so many years without them being there, and it helped to reinvigorate the Fast and Furious series as a whole. and get it to the point where it is now, a billion dollar franchise that, even though, like I said, the last couple movies have not been as good as the ones that came in between 4 and 7, 4 and 8, I should say, because Fury 7 was great. I mean, Fury 7, I think, is still the best of the series. Yeah, this is definitely one. I mean, if I had to rank the Fast and Furious movies in general, let's just go with that. If I had to rank them from bottom to top, I would probably say, Fast X maybe is at the bottom. Fate of the Furious is the second worst. Let me think. Give me 1 second. So I'd probably put it Fast X, Fate of the Furious, bottom to top again. Fast X, Fate of the Furious, Tokyo Drift, Too Fast, Too Furious, F9, Fast and Furious 6, Fast 5, not Furious 7, The Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious, and then Furious 7 at the top of the list. Like, Furious 7 is still the top of the list in general. I didn't include Hobbs and Shaw. I really liked Hobbs and Shaw, though. I did like that movie a lot, but Furious 7 I still think is the best of the entire series, and this is kind of in the middle of the series in general. But like I said, it's notable for helping to bring all these characters back and helping to reignite the series in general, and on that front, you got to give a credit for that. And like I said, definitely a mess in terms of a story, but God, it's fun to watch on so many levels for the action alone. And yeah, it's a real good fun movie. One I'd say, yeah, definitely check this one out. If you want to see a return to form for the Fast and Furious series, this is definitely the film to check out. So I highly recommend Fast and Furious. With all that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, which is Adventureland.
Sometimes your first job,
I don't have much work experience.
you are, is your last resort.
I think it better avoiding that.
The director of Superbad brings you a comedy about bad jobs.
Hey, boy, the race is on.
Wacky bosses.
Hey, James, have you ever seen a horse race before?
This is how we met.
And the best time of your life. Adventureland, rated R. Starts April 3rd.
Another really great movie from 2009 that sadly got overlooked at the box office. This was Greg Metallo's follow-up to Superbad. And, this film centers around a recent college graduate played by Jesse Eisenberg who takes a job at a rundown local amusement park to save for a trip to Europe. Comes across a bunch of colorful characters, including Kristen Stewart as his love interest, Ryan Reynolds, Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Martin Starr, and Margarita Oliveira. And part of me a little bit kind of has more affection for it because this was filmed around here. It was filmed at Kennywood. It's our big theme park around here, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't been there in almost 10 years. I mean, we used to go there every summer when I was a kid, but then between 2008 and 2018, we didn't go very often because, it was getting too expensive, and there was also a lot of problems with teenagers there that we just didn't want to hassle that in general. Well, but I did go back there in 2018, and yeah, definitely that 10-year period between the last time I was there in 2008 and the time I was back there in 2018. Definitely a notable difference, but still fun it's still fun regardless. And yeah, it's been a while since I've been there, and I guarantee you that there's been a lot more changes there than there was the last time I was there. But it's always cool to see a place on the big screen. And yeah, they did a pretty good job of using Kennywood's advantages to the theme park in this movie. Plus, you've got a lot of great characters played by some really good actors. A lot of really good actors all across the board in here. The comedy is really good, too. This isn't trying to be another Superbad knockoff. This is Greg Metallo doing something that is kind of on the same level as Superbad, but never feels like it's trying to be the next Superbad in general. It's a film that feels very different, feels very unique, and it is a well-made film. It's a film that's very funny, very creative, very well done. One of my favorite underrated movies from this year. Adventureland is one I'd highly recommend. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, Sugar.
Well, you played with your emotions, and your emotions got the best of you. Well, I'd like to see how you handle a relief spot.
Yo no estoy jugando bien, así que vas a encontrar alguien que está jugando mejor. Te va a estar bien.
Starting pitcher for American League, Sugar Santos.
And as I said before, this was a film that I had no idea was made by the same people who made Half Nelson. Technically, it was only Ryan Fleck who was the director of that movie, but this time it's Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. And it follows the story of Miguel Santos, also known as Sugar, played by Algenis Perez Soto, a Dominican pitcher for San Pedro de Macorís. You can tell that I don't know this pronunciation very well, so don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation of it. But San Pedro de Macorís, who struggles to make it in the big leagues and pulls himself and his family out of poverty. Playing professionally at a baseball academy in the Dominican Republic, Miguel finally gets his break at age 19 when he advances to the United States minor league system. But when his play on the mound falters, he begins to question the single-mindedness of his life's ambition. And like I said before, these are the same directors that would later go on to do Captain Marvel. And they've done some pretty good movies. It's kind of a funny story. And then just recently, there's been a lot of good word of mouth on Freaky Tales. But, I liked Half Nelson, and I found this one to actually be kind of pretty good. I liked the performances all across the board in here. A lot of relatively unknowns in here. I think the biggest name in this cast here is Andre Holland, and even then, it's not really like the biggest name out there, but he was, of course, in Moonlight, which came out 7 years later and won the Oscars for Best Picture. And this is an engaging little sports film. It works because the acting overall is great. It's a very engaging story about this kid. And about this guy and how he's trying to get into professional baseball and it doesn't really work out for him. And it's one of those little surprises that I did not see coming. It's one of those films where you see it, you don't really think about it all that much because it doesn't get like a big overall impact or it doesn't really make a big impact in general, but it's a film that works really well. I think it's a very enjoyable film. I think it's a very entertaining film. It's an underrated little gem, one that I was really not expecting a whole lot from, and I was really pleasantly surprised by what I saw. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a very underrated film, but if you've liked these two directors' works before, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, Sugar's definitely one to check out. It's a very underrated little gem I found, and I'm glad I searched it out because it is a pretty good film.
I would so love these. I saw these first. Do you know who I am? Well, I know you know who I am. You're my kiss.
For one girl, two worlds has become too much.
Is it always this crazy?
You have no idea.
And now, welcome to Tennessee.
Saddle up. I want to show you what you're missing.
She'll have to choose between the life she's always dreamed of and the life she never got to have.
I never expected to love it here so much. I'm tired of living a double life. So it's gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna want to make it move.
I think you should do what everything is right.
Sometimes you're gonna have to love. Think about what's waiting on the other side.
Hannah Montana, the movie, rated G, directed by Peter Chelson, featuring 14 new songs, including new music by Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus's smash hit, The Climb.
Ooh, I want a cowboy. Sorry, that one's taken.
Only in theaters April 10th.
I know, crazy world, right? This is, of course, based off the Disney Channel TV series Hannah Montana, and, of course, comes a year after the Best of Both Worlds concert was a big surprise success nobody really saw coming, and eventually led into this movie that we have here, which is, of course, a continuation of the series, as I said before, and it follows Miley Stewart's popularity and alternate celebrity persona beginning to take over her life. As you see in the trailer, she gets into a shoe fight with Tyra Banks, which seems really weird in general. Like, that's the thing that causes her dad to be like, okay, we gotta take you away from this. And that's literally what happens. Her father convinces her to take a trip to her hometown of Crowley Corners, Tennessee, to get some perspective on what matters most in life. And basically she has to make the decision to whether or not be just Miley Stewart or stay as Hannah Montana forever. And I'll give the film this. As somebody who has never been a fan of the television series or even watched an episode, I didn't really hate the film in general. I would honestly go as far as to say I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's a great movie by any means necessary. It's no classic, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was actually kind of tolerable. I thought it was actually kind of a decent film. And it really did show that, hey, Miley Cyrus has some potential as an actress, even though she never really fully lived up to it. She was in a couple other movies that came after this that weren't really successful, but you could tell that she does have a charismatic acting ability in this. We saw it in Bolt the previous holiday season. I mean, yeah, she clearly has the range to be a pretty good actress overall, and the story is very compelling, even for somebody that, like me, who has never watched the television series and can't really get into the storyline here. I mean, it's just, it works because everybody's playing their parts very well. Her father's pretty good in this, playing the father in the role they have here. You've got characters played by Margot Martindale and Melora Hardin are pretty good in this. The songs overall are decent. I mean, there's nothing really bad about the film per se. I mean, it is what it is, and I like the fact that the film doesn't bullshit you with the will she, won't she thing. No, she makes the decision at the end, and then the way they resolve it at the end, I thought actually kind of worked pretty well. I was actually kind of surprised at how charming and how really heartfelt that actually was. It's a legitimately decent movie. It's not a classic movie by any means necessary, but it's one of those ones that you got to go into it knowing that it's got to go into it with the right mindset is what I'm trying to say here. And me going into it, giving it a chance, I was actually kind of impressed by it. I think it's because of this director, Peter Kelsom, who has made pretty good movies in the past. He did Shall We Dance, and he also did Serendipity, and I mean, he's a pretty good director overall, and I think because of him, I think that elevates this movie to a level where I could say, I could say that it's decent. It's not a classic by any means necessary, but it's a decently made film. I think, obviously, fans of the television series will get more out of it, but for someone like me coming into it relatively fresh and unknown, I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie overall. It's not a classic, not one I'm going to watch over and over again, but I'm glad I got to saw it. I'm glad I could actually say the words right. I'm glad I got to see it. I'm not going to say it's a classic by any means necessary, but it is what it is, so take that for what you will. But like I said, would you believe that that's the one that doesn't have the most conflicting opinions on this show this week? Because case in point with our next movie, Seth Rogen starring in the second mall cop movie of 2009, which is Observe and Report.
He's coming back quick and he's coming back hard.
I'm gonna be so fine.
Everyone thinks they're fine until someone puts something in them they don't want in them.
On April 10th,
I swear I'm gonna catch this guy.
he's doing it for the job,
This guy did it.
Pero no lo entiendo.
What did he say? I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
for the girl,
I did not think you partied like
I
that.
party like this every 4 to 6 hours.
for the glory.
I'm so proud of you.
You're just drunk, man.
Your sister's father.
Observe and Report.
Grandma.
Rated R.
I mean, obviously, this is definitely the better of the two mall cop movies. I would take this over Paul Blart any day of the week. And I liked the movie back when it came out. Nowadays, though, not so much. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't think it's a great movie overall. I think it definitely has a ton of flaws to it. And so much so to the point that even Seth Rogen has even said that he was very disappointed by the overall result of the film. But he plays a mentally unstable vigilante mall cop who attempts to join the police academy and pursue a flasher tormenting female visitors to the mall where he works at. And he's got a love interest played by Anna Faris, and he's got a cop on his butt played by Ray Liotta. You have Michael Pena, Patton Oswalt. This is directed by the same guy who did The Foot Fist Way, and coincidentally, Danny McBride is in here too. He was also in that movie, and of course, these two would later work together on Eastbound and Down, which are very funny movies in general, and work for the raunchy humor that they're trying to do there. Here, the raunchy humor is more missed than hit. I mean, I liked it back when it came out, but watching it again recently, I really looked at it and I thought to myself, yeah, this is definitely one that does not hold up well over time. In fact, a lot of it really isn't all that funny or all that intriguing whatsoever. Now, there are a couple things that I will defend the movie for. There's one scene in particular that everyone kind of has a problem with, and that's the date rape being used for comedy. And yeah, rape is not really a funny subject in general, but I'll give it this. For what they did here with this, the scene in the trailer where Anna Faris and Seth Rogen are having sex, and Seth Rogen stops, and Anna Faris is just like, "What are you stopping for, motherfucker?" And like, that's a funny scene. Like, that's one of the. I'll give it that. That's a funny scene in general. For the context of what that scene is in particular, I got to give it credit for that. I thought that was pretty funny, and like I said, it's not for everybody, and it's not even like one of the great scenes in general with this, but like great scenes of comedy in general. It's just, I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. I think a lot of people is rightfully so. They do. It is something where you have to have an acquired taste for it. I mean, it's kind of like when you watch the movie Death to Smoochy. You need to have an acquired taste to appreciate some of the darkness of it. And I like dark comedy in general. I just like dark comedy in general, man. I like War of the Roses is one of my favorite dark black comedies of all time, and this one gets away with it at times, but it doesn't stick the landing most of the time. And I think that's one of the biggest flaws with the film, watching it again. a lot of the jokes in here just don't really play that well. They're not really that funny overall. Like, there's times when the movie will just stop for a pointless comedy scene. Like, Danny McBride's cameo in this movie, for example, is a perfect example of that. Like, he has a scene in here, you think it's going to be something much funnier and much more clever, and it really is not. It's literally, he's there for 5 minutes and then he's gone. He's out of the movie in general. Even the subplot with Ray Liotta isn't really all that impressive overall, and it gets raunchy for the sake of being raunchy, and most times it works, but other times not so much. And it just, I don't know. It's a movie that is a very, very mixed bag of a movie. I still give it credit for what it was trying to do, and I don't hate it overall, but it's definitely not the great movie that I thought it was 16 years ago. I thought it was a much better movie back then. Now that time has passed, I could definitely see a lot more flaws to it overall, but yeah, it's, like I said, it's still the better Mall Cop movie we got in 2009, so I guess I gotta give it that. But other than that, though, I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this movie again in general. Overall, mixed, but mostly leaning towards a, like, right in the, bordering on a thumbs down, but bordering on a thumbs up, too. That's where I'm kind of at with this movie right now. Give it another 16 years, and I'll probably hate it even more. But, with that said, let's go ahead and get into, this next one is a beauty. I mean, this last one we have here is a beauty. And now, I am not a Dragon Ball Z fan, or Dragon Ball fan in general, but let me tell you something. Dragon Ball Evolution may be one of the most insulting things I've ever seen in a long, long time. And that's saying a lot.
All he wanted was to fit in.
What are you doing here, Kino? I'm not looking for any trouble.
See ya. But he's about to discover a power
Did you do that?
that's part of a prophecy
You're different. I like different.
that will decide the fate of mankind. Dragon Ball Evolution.
You got a couple of dings in your car.
Rated PG.
But quite frankly, I don't see why this movie fails so miserably. I mean, can't you just look at that and see that, yeah, that's Dragon Ball Z, right? That's how the Dragon Ball franchise is supposed to go, right? Right? No. No, of course it isn't. And like I said, I've never seen an episode of Dragon Ball in my life, but let me tell you something. As someone like me who is relatively unknown to the series, even I can tell you that this movie is fucking atrocious. This is one of the biggest insults to a franchise I have ever seen in my entire life. This is right up there with The Last Airbender for one of the worst adaptations you will ever see in your entire life. In the film, the teenager Goku, played by Justin Chatwin, because he clearly looks like Goku, am I right? Am I right? Reveals his past and sets out to fight the evil alien warlord Lord Piccolo, played by James Marsters, who wishes to gain the powerful Dragon Balls and use them to take over Earth. Goku has a grandfather who's basically the Mr. Miyagi of the movie. He's got a crush on Chi-Chi, played by Jamie Chung. And there's another character that comes in, Bulma, played by Emmy Rossum, which, by the way, great ADR work on her, by the way. I mean, tell me if you think that this is great ADR work or not.
If I was the Piccolo, whatever that is, I wouldn't tell you. And if I did kill your grandfather, I would have shot you by now. Somebody stole my Promethean ore, and I'm here to get it back.
Flawless. Like, you can't tell at all that Emmy Rossum didn't say that line on the set, and they used bad ADR on her. I mean, and the worst part about it is, like, this movie is an insult to the two of them, Justin Chatwin and Emmy Rossum, especially when you consider that Shameless came out 2 years later and showed that, hey, these two are actually capable actors, and they have good chemistry together. But here, oh my god, this movie is an insult to the series in general. They take the world of Dragon Ball and turn it into this lame CWS TV series where Goku is the geeky nerd who gets beat up by all these bullies, these these terrible high school bullies. Like, every character in this movie has been reduced down to characters that are nothing like they are in the anime, and like, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable how bad this is. The only person who even comes close, two people in particular come close to who they are in the anime. James Marsters as Piccolo, and Chow Yun-Fat, who plays Master Roshi. I mean, they're the only two who are literally trying to save whatever dignity this movie has left, but it's not helped when all the acting in this movie is absolutely horrible and they're given nothing to do. Justin Chatwin has lines in this movie where he's trying so hard to be menacing and threatening, and it just isn't working. This is like watching Mila Jovovich in Ultraviolet. It's like, honey, you ain't saving this movie. And I'll say the same thing to Justin Chatwin. Honey, you ain't saving this garbage, no matter how hard you try. Like, this movie is a friggin' insult, man. And, you know, it's amazing what is that someone at 20th Century Fox, probably Tom Rothman, if we're being honest with you, not only decided, you know, we are so confident that this is going to be so successful that this is supposed to be the first of the series. We're going to see a lot more of these movies down the road. In fact, we're going to be so clever about this that we're going to release this movie on a Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, April 8th, this movie was released. Like, they were really believing that this was going to be a successful film, and just, no, it was not that at all. And, yeah, the film may have made money overall. It may have made back that $30 million budget back thanks to worldwide releases, but it's one of the worst movies ever made. It's a film that is the prime example of what you don't do with with an animated cinema adaptation, and it would take 7 years, 8 years actually, for somebody else to try to pull this bullshit again with Ghost in the Shell. And naturally, that didn't work out very well either, and that's a lie, because Last Airbender came out the year before, the year after this, but you get the idea. You get the whole idea altogether. Like, and the worst part about it is, this is not a hack director. This is James Wan. James Wan directed the Final Destination movies, 1 and 3, and he's a capable director. I mean, this is a guy that has worked on the X-Files. This is not a hack director whatsoever. It's so bad that I can't even talk straight right now. Does anyone have a Ricola? Okay, I'm back now. But then again, we probably should have been warned about this from the get-go, when the fact that the writer of this movie, Ben Ramsey, also wrote such classic movies as The Big Hit. Remember that one with Mark Wahlberg and Christina Applegate from 1998? And also Love and a Bullet, that wonderful, wonderful movie starring Tretch of Naughty by Nature. God, this movie was an abysmal mess. I mean, they had the balls to have a post-credits scene suggesting that this was going to be a sequel in general, and just, no. No, you are never going to sell this movie to anybody in particular. I would not be shocked at all if this slate in 2009 was the reason Tom Rothman got fired, because Fox, you know, they've already fucked up Street Fighter, they fucked up Dragon Ball, and don't worry, because in 2 weeks' time, they're going to fuck up Wolverine, too, with X-Men Origins Wolverine. I mean, Fox was in a bad state in 2008 and 2009, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of how bad this company went so downhill. And it's like, you look at these movies and it's just like, no wonder Disney decided to grab your ass 8 years later. Because, yeah, you know what, they're having much better success now than they had in that last couple of years of Tom Rothman's era at Fox. But so what have we learned here, ladies and gentlemen? We have learned that you can't do this to a beloved anime, no matter who you are, no matter what we've worked on before, and what you think is going to be successful. Don't ever do what Dragon Ball Evolution did in general here. And I think this is one of the reasons why these anime adaptations are becoming more sparse than ever, even though we've had The Last Airbender, which comes out the next year, and Ghost in the Shell, and now they're still talking about doing a live-action Akira movie, which I don't want them to do that by any means necessary, unless you're getting Michael B. Jordan to direct that movie. That's the only reason. That's the only way that movie's ever going to work. You get some hack director like you know, if you try to pull that stunt that, you know, Twisters did, where they just got a director who had never directed a blockbuster before, but fuck it, you've been nominated for an Academy Award. You're more than capable of directing a blockbuster, and it fails miserably. If that happens, then there's no hope for humanity. There's no hope for that movie whatsoever. The overall lesson I'm trying to tell you is that you should avoid Dragon Ball Evolution like the plague. It is one of the worst movies of the year. One of the worst movies of all time. It's an insult to the Dragon Ball series in general. And I'll just finish it with this. This movie was so terrible that the original creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, literally came out of retirement to make a new Dragon Ball series to make people forget about this garbage movie. This movie is so terrible, they had to bring the original creator back to do a new series to make people realize that, hey, Dragon Ball's still pretty awesome. Like, same thing happened with The Last Airbender. Avatar The Last Airbender had just ended a few years ago, and then because The Last Airbender failed, the original creators came back and gave us The Legend of Korra, which is still a great series, a great spinoff. And I think there could be a good live-action Dragon Ball movie made if you got a good scriptwriter and not some hack writer whose other works included a film starring the dude from Naughty by Nature and a Mark Wahlberg garbage fest from '98. I mean, I think I pretty much summed up everything wrong with this movie. Dragon Ball Evolution is a steaming pile of garbage, and you should avoid it like the plague.
Hey, Mike, I can tell you're down, but you're looking at Scarlett kicking you out of the house,
Hey, that's my stuff.
and the kids wanting nothing to do with you as a negative.
Can you just turn down the music?
I guess it's mostly negative, isn't it? Well, I'm upset for that.
Mike O'Donnell is at an age when life seems to have passed him by.
Bet you wish you had it to do all over again.
You got that right.
But in one extraordinary moment,
Hey, get off of there!
he'll get to turn back the clock and be 17. All over again.
No way. It's freaking me out.
Freaking me out! I'm pubescent! This is my chance to have my life over, but to do it right. I'm going back to high school, man!
Don't even think about sucking me into it with you. I'm here to enroll my son. Sup. What is this you're wearing? This is hip.
What'd you do, mug case head?
What are you wearing? You look like Clay Aiken.
Now,
Why is the new kid waving at me?
he's back in class.
What are you eating?
I don't even know. I just know I'm hungry.
All the time.
And he's back in the game.
Hey, Mom. This is Mark.
Wow. You look just like my husband. So weird.
Maggie has a boyfriend? Why are you dating him? He's bullying your little brother.
Who do you think you are, my father?
He's got one last shot
It's not about me. It's about helping Alex and Maggie.
to get things right.
Come on. No, it's pretty even.
Huh? On YouTube, it looked like you were getting your butt kicked.
When you're young, everything feels like the end of the world. But it's not. It's just the beginning.
Zac Efron,
I made the basketball team.
Really? Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Me too. You did great out there.
Oh, Mark, that's super inappropriate.
Nice.
17 again.
That moment when you realize that not only is the late Matthew Perry in here, but also Michelle Trachtenberg. Yeah, I completely forgot she was in this movie playing his daughter in this movie. Good Lord. I mean, do we have like a 17 again curse going on here or something? Or maybe it's just a pure coincidence. But anyway, this is 17 again, and a plot that is very, very similar to many other movies of its kind. The story where you have Matthew Perry, who's a 37-year-old man who becomes his 17-year-old self after a chance accident. The 17-year-old self being Zac Efron, and he's going through all this trouble with his with the soon-to-be ex-wife, played by Leslie Mann, his daughter, played by Michelle Trachtenberg, his son, I think Sterling Knight's him, his best friend's Thomas Lennon. He falls in love with the principal of the school, played by Melora Hardin. Second movie she's been in this month, in the April of 2009. And, yeah, this is a film that's very formulaic and been done to death before so many times. However, it's very interesting with movies like this. We get these type of movies every once in a while. You know, where you get a Big, or 13 going on 30, or, you know, we just had recently Little, which was very similar to this, where you have somebody who is basically turned it from either a boy to a full-grown man, or a man to a boy, a girl to a woman, and so on and so forth. And these have usually been the movies that have featured the big breakout performances that led these people to superstardom. Case in point, of course, Big was Tom Hanks, which is the movie that made him the superstar that he was. 13 going on 30, Jennifer Garner became a movie star at that point. And in this movie, this is the film that really introduced people to Zac Efron post-High School Musical. Everyone was wondering, what was he going to do for his big first movie out of the Disney circuit? Could he make it on his own? And in this case, he made it work. He was very good in the movie, and he showed that, hey, this guy has potential to become a really good actor in the future, and I thought he was great in the movie. The scene in particular where I think it really hit me that this kid was going to be a great star was when he is in the cafeteria with his kids, you know, trying to figure out what's going on with them, and you find out the son is getting bullied, and he goes off on the speech against the bully where he's telling them off, but also doing it doing these athletic skills with the basketball and all that. And just the way this scene is presented is so well done. And I saw that and I thought to myself, okay, he's got it. He's definitely got the chops to be a really good actor in the future. This movie really is well done in taking a story that's been done to death before so many times, but because there is such a talented cast all across the board here, it just works, man. It just works incredibly well. It's a very engaging film. All the performances are top-notch. The comedy is really good for the most part. It's a movie that really works a lot better than I think people let on. Yes, it's a story that's been done to death before several times, but if you've got good actors and a good hook to really give it its own edge to it, you can really pay it off in a big way here, and I think it does very well in this case here. It really shows what Zac Efron's acting abilities in the future would later hold for him. I think it's a terrific film. It's a very good movie, one I highly recommend checking out. 17 again, really a good film. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is another star-studded movie in general, with Russell Crowe and Ben Affleck leading the charge in State of Play.
This is a real story.
An aide to Congressman Collins was found dead this morning. He's an old friend of yours. Good reporters don't have friends, only sources.
When the story, who might have wanted Sonya dead, reveals a conspiracy. This girl was double agent. Keep your friends close. Trust no one. And your enemies closer. But only if you can tell them apart.
This is as connected as it gets.
State of Play, rated PG-13.
State of Play is based off of a British television series of the same name, and you have the story of a journalist played by Russell Crowe and his probe into the suspicious death of the assistant and mistress of Congressman Stephen Collins, played by Ben Affleck. The cast also includes Rachel McAdams, Helen Mirren, Jason Bateman, Robin Wright, and Jeff Daniels. And it's a movie that was heavily influenced by the films of the 1970s, and from what I've seen from it, it's kind of an equivalent. It's kind of like a mix between All the President's Men and also kind of a more dramatic version of The Paper, that underrated Ron Howard comedy from 1994. And it helps that you have a really good group of actors and a good director who also did The Last King of Scotland, and a good writing team that includes Matthew Michael Carnahan, Tony Gilroy, Billy Ray, and the cast that includes it here. The cast really sells the film in general, and it's a great, great thriller. It's a film that really does keep you guessing all across the board, even though the twists are kind of predictable overall on how it eventually comes to an end. You don't really care because you're so invested in what's going on. You're so invested in, okay, how's everybody going to get out of this? And it works really well. I think it's a very well done film. It's a film that did pretty well when it came out, but has largely been forgotten since then. I think this was kind of the beginning of the continuing beginning of the Ben Affleck renaissance, because we saw that with Hollywoodland a few years prior, and then the year after that was Gone Baby Gone, his directorial debut. And so now we have State of Play, and then he's going to follow it up the next year with not Argo, that's later on down the road, The Town, which would be the big movie that would welcome him back to relevancy again. And he's great in the movie. Everybody in here does a really good job with the performances in here. This is a really good film. Definitely one you want to check out. State of Play. Really good political thriller. Really great performances all around. A terrific, terrific film. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the last one we have here, and that is the sequel to Crank, Crank High Voltage.
Put one of those plastic artificial jokes.
How many bars is a battery show?
What?
You got 1 hour. You gotta keep your body electrically charged to keep it pumping.
Just man. On April 17th, you're gonna tell me exactly who's got more heart. Jeff Chelios is not dead. I'm running on them 2000 yet.
Don't do anything strenuous.
Crank High Voltage, rated R. In theaters April 17th.
Yeah, it's a sequel that's pretty much the same thing, except bigger budgets, bigger explosions, bigger, you name it. Everything's bigger in this movie, but still pretty damn fun overall. This film continues from the events of the end of Crank, where Jeff Chelios was supposed to die in that movie, but because the first film was a success, they made the sequel, and he survives the deadly fall and gets kidnapped by Chinese doctors who harvest his heart and replace it with an artificial one, which is designated to keep him alive for an hour. Jeff sets out to find his heart while keeping himself electrically charged to stay alive. And yes, that includes sticking things that will cause electrical sparks on his tongue and his nipples, and just, like, if you can't get involved in that alone, then this really isn't the movie for you. This movie is hilariously over-the-top fun. I mean, yeah, it's the same movie as the last film, but it's still really fucking awesome, man. Jason Statham is really good in the movie, and I just love how this film is just gonzo nuts. Just let's go crazy. We have to improve. We have to go crazier than we did the last time around. Like in the first movie, Jason Statham's character had sex with Amy Smart is in front of. It was not in public overall, but no, we got to take it to the next level. We got to take it to a horse race where, you know, we've got to go ahead and have sex in the middle of this big audience, and it's just like, why is he doing this? We don't know, but it's fun to watch. I mean, it really is a fun to watch movie. It's a film that is so over the top, so ridiculous, and yes, it's a knockoff. It's the same movie all over again. And I've said before, most of these sequels don't usually pan out that well, but this film knows exactly what it's doing, and it knows that we're just gonna have the time of our lives doing stupid stuff, and hopefully you'll get enjoyment out of it. And this is the movie, and this movie works because of it. It's a silly, over-the-top, ridiculous, action-packed gonzo fest, and I loved every minute of it. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's as good as the original film. It's fun. It's the same movie as the last film, but it's still fun all across the board. Crank High Voltage. If you didn't like the first one, then chances are you're not going to get invested in this one. But I love the first one, and I definitely love the second one a lot. Crank 2 High Voltage. Highly recommended.
Lisa, it's my wife, Sharon.
Hi, lucky girl.
If someone wanted your husband,
I'll be waiting in my room.
I'm not coming to your room.
You want me to come to yours?
if they threatened your family,
You came into my house. You touched my child.
how far would you go
You think you're crazy?
to protect what's yours?
I'll show you crazy.
Obsessed. Rated PG-13, April 24th.
Allie, take the hint. He does not want you. He's married to Beyonce. Like, you blew that opportunity. Like, I know you have that dream of dating a black guy, or having sex with a black guy, but that ship has sailed. It's time to move on. That's the first thing I should say. Second thing, it's PG-13. So, yeah, you're not getting anything hot or sexy from this movie, no matter how hard you try. And 3, Fatal Attraction. I mean, it's obviously the Gen Z equivalent to Fatal Attraction, and yeah, I don't think I need to tell you how this movie ends up being. You have Ali Larter starring as an office temp who develops unrequited feelings for a boss played by Idris Elba, and repeatedly attempts to seduce him, and his wife, played by Beyonce Knowles, learns of Lisa's escalating behavior and suspects her husband is having an affair. So yeah, like I said, this is literally Fatal Attraction, except instead of Glenn Close being absolutely terrifying in that movie, Ali Larter is just being kind of obnoxious because Idris Elba wants nothing to do with her per se. And this in a way, it's not like Fatal Attraction because Michael Douglas shouldn't have been doing it, but he got into it anyway with Glenn Close because he was married to Ann Archer in that movie. But here, it's clearly obvious that Idris Elba wants nothing to do with Ali Larter per se, and like I said, he's married to Beyonce Knowles. I mean, come on, like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna risk it all for the chick from Heroes and the chick who had whipped cream all their boobs and vagina in a Varsity Blues? I mean, someone like me, it would probably be that way, but no, you're married to Beyonce Knowles. I think we all know who your priority should be, but yeah, this movie is pretty lame. It's a lackluster movie that doesn't explain anything. We just are expected to already assume that, he's pretty much, that she pretty much has it for him. For no particular reason, because no, they never explain how this is the whole thing about her obsession with Idris Elba's character. They don't explore the themes of an interracial couple. It's kind of like the equivalent to Lakeview Terrace, except Lakeview Terrace was actually trying to have a message to it. Not a well thought out message, but at least they were trying in that movie. But in this one, like I said before, it doesn't work because Idris Elba wants nothing to do with Ali Larter, but yet she can't take no for an answer because she's the blonde hottie and she's got to be the main character of the storyline here. There is only one thing in particular that makes this movie worth it, and that's at the end when Beyonce has to beat the living shit out of Ali Larter. I mean, there's literally a scene where she beats the crap out of her, and yeah, That makes it kind of worth it a little bit, but not really. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, it's certainly the most enjoyable aspect of the movie because Beyonce's looking at Ali Larter's just like, bitch, are you serious? And it's like, yeah, she could easily beat the crap out of her, no question about it. That's the only thing that makes this movie worth it. And even then, you can find its stuff online. You can find it on YouTube right now, probably on one of Sony's channels, and you wouldn't even have to bother watching the movie. Because really, watch that, and you got something out of it. If it was like a short film, like a comedy short film, like something out of a Mad TV, Key and Peele SNL sketch, I mean, that'd be something, but not in the movie where you're sitting there for over an hour and a half just waiting for this moment to happen. And then when it happens, it's a nice little thing to add to it, but at the same time, I've wasted my time on this garbage movie with nothing of value to it whatsoever. So why am I even here? I mean, you can watch all these people in much better movies. There are so many other better movies with everybody involved in this. This is just bad. This is a Gen X version of Fatal Attraction, except not as scary, not as intimidating, not as fun. It's just a waste of your time. And yeah, I don't care if you have some talented actors in here, like Idris Elba and Beyonce Knowles. Like, go watch them in much better movies. There are so many other better movies out there you could be watching them in, besides this pile of garbage here. Plain and simple. So, with that said, hey, we had the Gen X version of Fatal Attraction. Here's the Gen X version of Rocky, Fighting.
Like you lie?
Yeah. So you're a fighter?
Yeah, but not professional.
You should put your man in a big fight.
I got you another fight.
How much this time?
$500,000 to the winner.
On April 24th.
I want to kiss you.
Excuse me, you gotta go. You look like you're creamy now.
It's not who you're fighting.
Why are you doing this?
It's what you're fighting for.
I'm doing this for us.
Fighting. Rated PG-13. In theaters April 24th.
A movie so bland and so generic it has to come up with the most blandest title you could possibly think of. We have a movie about boxing. What do we call it? Well, what are they doing in boxing? Fighting. We've got it. We've got our movie. And, yeah. And that should give you... That's another warning sign to probably stay away from this one. But you have Channing Tatum, who plays the kind-hearted son of an Alabama wrestling coach who makes a grim living selling fake products on the streets of New York City. After dealing with thieving punks, he's discovered by bare-knuckle Street Fighter manager Harvey Borden, played by Terrence Howard. Sean soon proves himself worthy and starts earning a small fortune, part of which he volunteers to spend on single mother Zule Velez, played by Zule Heno. I mean, I'm pretty sure they casted her because of the name, and also because she's a hot chick, so I'm guessing that's the reason why. But Sean doesn't cheat, and that seems to be a major problem, notably after the arrival of his Alabama high school rival, which... This really is sounding like that Simpsons episode where Homer turns into a boxer and Moe is his boxing manager, and Homer really doesn't really do anything. He's just, just sits in the ring and just takes as many punches as he can and then waits for the opponent to go down. I mean, that's literally what this feels like. This feels like that type of a movie, and it would have helped if this movie had something more to it besides just a generic-ass storyline. I mean, it's literally like trying to be another grittier-style version of Rocky, except Rocky was a more uplifting storyline, even though it was taking place in a very difficult area for Sylvester Stallone's character to be in, with this woman that he fell in love with in a pet store, who owned a pet store. Here, this is just literally taking everything from it and just chopping it down into the most blandest, most half-assed storyline ever. And for a movie like this, we have Channing Tatum and Terrence Howard and all these people involved, including Luis Guzman and Zule Heno, who I've seen in some other movies. She was pretty good on Illegal Tender. But other than that, though, there really is nothing here that you haven't seen done before. There are so many other better boxing movies or fighting movies that you could easily watch that are actually much better than this. And this comes from a good director, Dino Montiel, who did A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, which wasn't a bad movie. It was just not this feels like a film that it feels like the typical movie an independent filmmaker gets, where, you could do your own thing, but can you throw in a little bit of something that we've seen done before? Can you do that for us? And that's what we get here. A lackluster second attempt at directing a film, and not a very good one. So, yeah. Big disappointment on this one overall. Fighting. Don't fight it. Just don't watch it. So, let's get to what I think is probably overall the best movie of the entire week. And it's a very underrated film. Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr. starring in The Soloist.
This this spring.
You only got 2 strikes.
I've had it for 7 minutes.
Me too.
As a guy, he's got a gift.
Experience the remarkable true story
I'm Steve Lopez, LA Times. I want to write about you.
of one unlikely friendship
I've never loved anything the way that he loves music.
that will change 2 lives.
Do you want an opportunity or not? It's impossible.
It can't happen.
Jamie Foxx, Robert Downey Jr.,
Come on, you can do it.
The Soloist, rated PG-13, starts April 24th.
A movie that basically got screwed over because it was originally supposed to be a Christmas release and supposed to be a big awards contender for both Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr., but got pushed back at the last minute and didn't make a whole lot of money because stupid idiots, you opened the movie a week before the summer movie season. What the hell did you think was going to happen? But this is really the best movie of the entire week. You have a story where you have Jamie Foxx, who plays Nathaniel Ayers, a musician who's developed schizophrenia and becomes homeless. And you follow a journalist played by Robert Downey Jr., who follows his story, and you find out more about these characters and their personal lives. And it's basically a much better version of Resurrecting the Champ, that terrible Josh Hartnett, Samuel L. Jackson movie, which there are a lot of similarities to this movie. But the big difference between that movie and this movie is that the acting is much better. There's a solid director involved in Joe Wright, who had done Atonement and Pride and Prejudice before that. And this is also Suzanne Grant, who also wrote Pocahontas. She also wrote Erin Brockovich, In Her Shoes. So she's made a lot of good movies. There is a lot of good talent all across the board in this movie, and Robert Downey Jr. just continues to prove how good of a comeback he's on right now, coming off of the 3 movies he had in 2008 with Charlie Bartlett, Iron Man, and Tropic Thunder, and then he has this movie. And Jamie Foxx is really good in the movie too. You have a cast that also includes great performances by Catherine Keener, Lisa Gay Hamilton, Nelson Ellis, yeah, I'm thinking Nelson Franklin, but Nelson Ellis, Octavia Spencer, Stephen Root, Jenna Malone, Lorraine Toussaint, Rachel Harris. A good cast overall in here, and it's a much more compelling story because you follow this guy who's not just a straightforward homeless person that once had promised to him love. He has a condition, and it's part of why he kind of fell out of form until Robert Downey Jr.'s character came around. Yeah, it's a very formulaic movie, but it's a really damn good movie in this process. Like, it's a film that I think deserves a lot more credit. It's one of the more underrated Jamie Foxx movies and Robert Downey Jr. movies that they've ever made. And probably Joe Wright's most overlooked film as well, because it's a film that came and went, didn't really do a whole lot at the box office, and kind of just faded out into a point where I can't say the word. Faded out into obscurity. And lo and behold, nowadays, the only people who bring it up are people like me who say that, hey, it's actually kind of good. You should probably check it out, especially if you want to see Robert Downey Jr. in some really good underrated gems of films. Soloist is definitely one I'd highly recommend checking out. It's one that I really like a lot. It really definitely deserves a lot more attention than it gets. It's definitely a very good film. One I say, definitely seek this one out. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, the first film from Disney Nature, and that is Earth.
Invite you to join 3 families on an incredible journey. Critics around the globe are hailing Earth as even better than March of the Penguins. Earth, rated G. Buy a ticket for opening week, and Disney will plant a tree in your honor.
Sorry for the suck-ass TV spot there, but believe me, that's the better of the TV spots I could find for this. Even though this movie didn't do bad business overall, it actually did really well. It made over $100 million worldwide. It's the second highest grossing nature documentary of all time, and yet there's only 2 commercials on there. One that was literally taped off of television, and one that was literally uploaded to the computer by somebody who I guess was just copying it off of a commercial break or something. But this was the first Disney Nature feature film. Disney Nature, as you see at the end of that trailer there, you go to see the movie, and they tell you that if you buy a ticket, they'll plant a tree in your honor. Sure, whatever you say. Like, maybe they're doing it, but then again, this is Disney, and I would not be shocked at all if they were using that money for other reasons, and the fact that they say that buy a ticket and we'll plant a tree, and they'll plant it in the plant like the small, and by tree they mean like the smallest plant possible. I don't know. I don't think that I would like to think that Disney would be smart enough not to do that, but then again, everyone's got lies like in their life, but. Anyway, this is Earth, a film that depicts the diversity of wild habitats and creatures across the planet. It begins in the Arctic in January of one year and moves southward, concluding in Antarctica in December of the same year. Along the way, it features the journeys made by 3 particular species. the polar bear, the African bush elephant, and the humpback whale, to highlight the threats of their survival in the face of rapid environmental change. It's a companion piece and a sequel to the TV series Planet Earth, and uses many of the same sequences, though most are edited differently, and feature previously unseen footage not seen on television. So yeah, it's basically kind of taking the Planet Earth TV series and blowing it up for the big screen, which in one way kind of hurts the film in general, but at the same time it's just kind of like, I've seen worse. It's not even worse, to say the least. It's not a bad movie. It's a film that, it is what it is, and you can just tell that Disney was trying to copy the success of March of the Penguins and Arctic Tale. I mean, they literally say in the commercial there, you know, it's better than March of the Penguins, which no it isn't. I mean, it's nice looking. It's nice Disney going back to some of the old nature documentary style films that they used to make back in the day when Walt was still alive. I mean, I'll give it that. I mean, this isn't a bad movie per se, but there's just nothing really about it, at least to me, that made it kind of stand out in any way, shape, or form, compared to other much better documentaries. And as it is, it's fine. It's nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but it is what it is. Earth, pretty much all you got to say about that one. And we'll definitely be getting to some more Disney nature documentaries, as they will release a new documentary every year going forward for the next couple of years for Earth Day. Because Earth Day was coming up around this time, which coincidentally will be coming up around the time that this episode goes out on the air. So, happy pre-Earth Day, if you will. So that's Earth.